There is a serious brain drain that is going on in the United States, and the great equalizer is educating yourself to prepare for the coming, or actually the already here, AI revolution. If you don't have basic computer skills, you are in a world of hurt, and it is time you start taking accountability and some action to get yourself into the new industries. We're going to talk about that right here, right now on the Ujamaa Network. The terminology for artificial intelligence, or AI, is being thrown around so much so, just like how cryptocurrency was being thrown around about 5 or 6 years ago. People were aware of what it was, but really didn't get into the nuts and bolts of it, of what it actually represented. The same thing is happening with AI. And when you look at the construction of all of these data centers, which by and large are nothing more than physical representations of what AI is doing to local economies by building up massive data warehouses and employing next to no employees. And the whole thing is based on automation. If you haven't figured it out yet, maybe now is a time for you to start paying attention to what it is that is powering these AI revolutions in your local neighborhoods. It could be a life or death situation. Start planning your future now. Here are some of the tips that I would want you to do every day. The first tip is something that I find that a lot of people just refuse to do, and that's just read. Don't just listen to stories on the television or on your streams. You gotta get into the nuts and bolts and started using this gray matter up here and read and understand. You gotta comprehend in what you are looking at, what these potentials are. I'm not saying become a programmer. That's well past time. You cannot program your way out of the reality that is. Understanding what AI does, how it is run, who is paying for it, what drives it, getting those information pieces is beneficial to you so you can navigate how you use it to your advantage. Think of it like this. A lot of us blindly go to the grocery store. We pick up, a pound of ground beef or more, go to the store, pay for it at the register, and leave, right? We don't care how that animal was slaughtered. We don't even know which animal it came from. Most people really don't know that that meat comes from a living creature. They don't know any of the farm process, but they eat hamburgers. This is the same thing with AI. You don't know any of this infrastructure that goes into it, how much money is being invested, but you use it without even knowing that every time you pick up your phone and ask a question of Google, or you have a chat GTP model or some other form of AI, you're actually feeding the monster that is eating your jobs. And if you're not careful, you need to understand one thing and one thing only. It is better to be a flea on a dog than in its path. Do you understand what I'm saying? If a dog is charging at you, teeth flying, would you rather be the person that's about to get bit, or the one that's biting the dog that the dog doesn't even notice? Terrible analogy? Maybe. But you got to understand, you got to have to survive this. One on one, you versus AI is not going to end up with anything but you being unemployed. Figure it out. As somebody that works in the support industry dealing with people who have very limited skills with computers, people who forget their passwords, people who have basic how to questions. This is a transition for me as AI stands prepared to replace what I do with a chat engine. It's possible. In many ways, a lot of us are training the AI model with our very responses. Every day we answer a particular question. These things are being inputted. So I know full well what's on the horizon. But fortunately for me, My career has spanned enough time for me to not only see where it's come from, but where it's going and where the opportunities are for me to not only help myself generate income, but begin the transitioning process and make money off of people who really don't have a clue. There's going to be a bunch of people out there who have focused their entire lives on whatever skill or trade they have done. But when it comes to getting some things done to keep their businesses going, they're going to have to rely on people who actually know how to interact with these devices and these systems. Um, Even to the point where I train the individuals into how to effectively use the technology that's out there. I don't expect lifelong customers. Once you get the information, use it and grow it. But getting that information is going to be the task. There's not a whole lot of people, and I'm speaking from experience, that actually know what they're going to be doing without charging you an arm and a leg. One of my business models for the 4C Web Cafe that I'm creating, or actually have created, is just that. Now, I plan on putting these tutorials out there online and have a brick and mortar store. You're going to have some hands on with some people. There's just no getting around it. A lot of people are really beginning to understand that they're not that type of learner that can sit behind a computer and get angry or frustrated without having to ask a living person a question. That's where I come in. You have to do what I did and identify the coming trends. That's the most important thing next to reading and finding out what's going on. So you got reading as the first thing that you're supposed to do, and then identifying the trends, the coming trends that are coming with this new revolution. Those are the first two things. So let's identify some occupations that are going to be on the chopping block and some occupations that are what I call AI resistant. Now, those AI resistant occupations, jobs, if you will, are going to be centered around people and trade skills, particularly your electricians, your HVAC technicians, construction, auto mechanics, especially EVs. As more and more technology is being infused and replaced, you have to be able to identify those areas where some things are not going to be around. Now, even with these trade skills, things like construction are going to be facing or already facing some major changes, especially when it comes to home construction, with everything that's going on politically and with the technology advances in 3D printing of houses and that type of automation. Automation is going to be just as big a factor in construction as AI is with IT. But understand the fundamentals of putting wiring in homes as things progress, you're going to see less and less skilled labor and more technology being infused in these areas. But for the time being, these are safe bets to go for high paying occupations. Now, a lot of people are saying, I'm too old to learn a trade. Yeah, but you're not too old to learn how to order materials. You don't have to work on the grounds. You can work in some of those front offices where AI just cannot have that human interaction with your potential customers. How to get these things initiated as far as the purchasing process. AI cannot do that just yet. But again, learning a trade and about the workings of that trade is a safe bet going forward, at least for the next 5 to 10 years. Other forms of AI resistant jobs are going to be human centered, people centered. Things like teaching other people, caring for and healthcare of other people. Though there is a lot of massive data infrastructure and architecture put into each of these hospitals, you still have to have that human touch. Those are job growth areas that despite what's going on with AI, people are still going to get sick. People are still going to be injured, and they're going to need to be cared for. There's going to be a human component to occupations going forward. Now, that won't change, period. As long as there are people, there are going to be sick people. Understand that that is more of a AI resistant job area. Again, if you're not already in a field that's affected by AI, or you're already in healthcare, this is not the time to come out. Now let's focus on those opportunities that are AI resilient or actually work with AI, such as content creation. You're using more and more of these tools to get your content out and becoming a more defined force, if you will, by learning the technology that is actually displacing so many jobs right now. You can get into areas like content creation, IT support itself, the actual keeping and maintaining of the machines that are running these AI programs. Um, Cybersecurity is another area. There is a human aspect to that as we move into more and more dangerous territory with the world that we're going to be left with after this current administration. We're already seeing that with the FBI director's email being hacked and leaked by Iran. There's going to be a need, despite the gutting of our cybersecurity task force with this current administration. We're already doing some things on this channel. We have gotten away from for the past 2 weeks due to some unforeseen circumstances, but we are doing study sessions on cybersecurity and getting that Security Plus certification. I recommend people get into that right now. Now, unlike a trade, which is going to require an apprenticeship, especially with electricians, IT security, that's something that you can pick up in within a year if you really dedicate yourself, versus the 3 or 4 years or 5 years that you'll have to work as an apprentice while earning your money to get your journeyman's certification as an electrician or as a carpenter or as a plumber. You have to go through a process with those trades. And older folk like my generation, we may not have that kind of time left. Can't wait till you get to be about 50, 55 years old and decide, you know what, I want to get on top of this ladder and pull some wire. Your body may just not be suited for that at this point in time. But for those of you who are younger, there's always going to be a need for somebody who builds, and it's always a great skill to have. Barring that, the next best trade is getting some IT certifications behind you. It works with AI and not against it. And lastly, the thing that we always promote here is becoming your own boss. This may be the time to really lock in on that business plan, providing a service, something that you and only you can do. Now, restaurants, barbershops, that kind of stuff, yeah, they're a dime a dozen in Atlanta right now. You can make your name, but they have very high turnover rates. If this is a path or a passion for you, maybe this is a good time to start dedicating yourself to it. Then again, with a tremendous uptick in what is happening on the landscape for these businesses, major businesses going bankrupt because they just can't afford the overhead. You have to really buckle down, settle down, and get serious with the numbers if this is going to be an option for you. Now, of course, there are more than service related and restaurant related businesses that you can start up with. Consulting centers like the one I'm putting together called 4C Web Cafe, providing physical space and technological training is a path that I've identified to work not just with or against AI, but training the people who are going to have to be trained to get these jobs, providing a safe learning atmosphere that people can actually prosper in. Identify those jobs. Lastly, if you find yourself in any one of these areas, now is the time to start getting really concerned. I'm not going to say panic, but it is time to get up out of there. You need to make a path up out of these industries. There is absolutely no way that you are going to bounce back from this. Just ask those 30,000 Oracle employees or those 20,000 Microsoft employees over the past 18 months. If you are in data entry, anything dealing with marketing, yo, the handwriting has been on the wall. You can meet as many objectives as that supervisor wants you to hit, all your metrics. It won't matter if the thing that you're keeping metrics on are people who no longer have jobs. You will not have a job. Make sure you understand that before you pick a major. Get up out of there. Focus on something else. And I'm not just saying that as a, fear and dread type of individual. I'm saying that as look at today's news and look at this list of people who have lost their jobs in just this month.